the next speaker for the day is from Land Transport Authority, LTA. So he's Mr. Poon Kokyong, so he's Assistant Manager with LTA. So he's going to share about the open data that's available from LTA, right? So let's welcome Kokyong.
Hello, good morning everyone. I'm from the Land Transport Authority. So I think Arthur has actually given you a very extensive overview of the open data initiatives spin off by the government. So for my presentation, I will be sharing with you some of the data set that the land transport related data set that we make available for your use for this competition. Right, so the agenda, I'll be covering three things, right? What, how, and which. So what data set is available for your use for this competition? How do you access and how do you make use of our data? And also which are the areas for focus that you could consider for this competition? Alright, so this is the data more at mytransport.sg. It's LTA's solution to address the government call for open data. It was actually launched on the 28th of November in 2011. Alright, it's a portal that releases down all land transport related data for developers like yourself. So you can actually go to this portal and see what all the transport related data sets available. Right, since its launch, the number of data sets that we shared has increased from over 60 to about 90 at the moment. Yeah. Right, so LTA's data is classified into four broad categories: geospatial, traffic related, public transport, and text and vehicle statistical reports. Right, so for geospatial category, it actually comprises of data related to the transport and road infrastructure. We actually share this data in the SV shapefile format. Right, so this category contains data layers such as bus stop location, taxi stand location, gantries location, and also the Singapore road network. Right, so if you are looking at implementing a solution, a map-based solution, you can actually make use of the data layers from this category. Right, the next category is actually a traffic-related category. So this category comprises of real-time traffic data that is updated every 1 to 5 minutes. Right, so this category contains data sets such as traffic images that show the flow of traffic along major expressway, traffic information that informs motorists on any incidents that's happening on the road. ERP rates tells you the ERP charges at all ERP gantries, and also car park availability that advises motorists on the car park lot availability in major shopping centers. Public transport category contains of bus information like bus route and bus schedule for both public buses and also private driven buses. Right, so if you are looking at developing a solution that benefit public transport commuters, you can actually make use of data sets available in this category. Right, lastly, the facts and figures category contains of statistical report that is useful for researchers and academia for them to analyze and to study transport trends. Right, so it contains data sets such as like past COE results, statistics on vehicle population, train statistics, and also public transport utilization and capacity. Right, so in the data more, we actually publish data in machine readable format as listed. So we have it in XML, Excel, and even shapefile format. Right, the purpose of making available machine readable format so that your system can actually interpret the data directly without any human intervention. Right, so we also make available sample data for you to assess the relevance of the data, right, to see whether is it a good fit to your need before you request for download from us. Right, the next part is actually on data registration. So after assessing the sample data, you feel that the data is indeed what you are looking for, you can actually submit a request to us to get access to the data. So depending on your nature, you can actually submit a request as an individual or on behalf of the company. Right? So you need to fill up some basic information such as your name, your contact information, and also a brief description of your intended usage. Right, and you have to look through the terms and conditions of this, and agree to this set of terms and conditions, and then send your request to us. So upon approval, we will follow up with an email to provide more instructions on how you can download and access our data. Right, so over the past 1 year, LTA has actually received about 400 over data requests. Right, and just to share a few of our data requester with you, right? So, right, GoDare has requested for our data to improve to incorporate traffic information into the data.gov.sg website. Nanyang Poly has also requested for our data to for improvement of the Pocket One Map solution. A-Star made use of our data to perform research on next generation visualization techniques. MediaCorp, Marina Bay Sands, and Sixtiles have all requested for our data for improvement of their website. And this guy, Mr. Hua Hong Cheng, is actually the winner of the Land Transport Excellence Award 2012 Young Innovator Award. Right, he is the developer for this very famous application, the SG buses. Right, and he has requested, he's one of our data requesters, and he has requested data from us, and he has incorporated our data into his award-winning application. Right, so here are some of the areas that you can consider for this Google PlugFest competition. Right, maybe just let me run through quickly the 4 problem statements that are highlighted. Right, the first one, of course, is to develop the location-aware application that can advise us, the users, the most appropriate route choice. Right. The second one would be to develop an application to advise the user the most optimal transport mode, taking into consideration the current traffic condition. Right. The third one is actually to crowdsource traffic news on the ground. Right, and the last one is to provide an application that showcases the connectivity link network around MRT stations. So yeah, so these are the problem statements that we do hope that you can actually come up with a solution to this problem statements for us. Alright, I would also like to take this opportunity to solicit any feedbacks and comments that you may have pertaining to the transport data that we share out at the moment. So if you have a request for new data but that's currently not available and it's not shared by LTA, you can actually send your suggestion to us at the following email address. Right, we'll take it back. We will then evaluate, consider, and see if it's possible for us to share out all these new data requests. Right? Yeah, this is all I have. Right, thank you.
Okay, guys, question time. Looks like a lot of data is from LTA, and maps is a very big thing, right? What we usually do. So, who's going first? Okay. Not enough?
I'm from NGO. I have submitted some requests to the LTA for some bus data, but all I get is some static bus data, like bus stop location, bus schedule, or some bus route, some bus stops. But do you have some real-time bus location data?
API, using
the API to get some real-time bus location or around time, something like that.
Okay, at the moment, bus arrival information is not shared because this set of data is doesn't belong to LTA. So we actually purchase this data from the public transport operators. But moving forward, of course we do have plans to collect this data ourselves, and then after when we establish this data collection means, then we will be opening up this data and pipeline.
Okay, so yeah, please.
I just have a short question. How long does it take from registration to getting approved? And is there any hassle to not get approved?
So I guess this question is, if he makes a request for this competition, something be available by February 15th. You can see from that point. Am I right to say?
Yeah, usually we take about 3 to 5 working days to process, right? But for this competition, we expedite any requests that we receive.
Alright, so that's good news. So what happens is, if you're going to make any requests, just mention that you're participating in the PlugFest competition, which is supported by IDA, LTA, and maybe you can just give us the URL, and we request the government agencies to expedite it. So probably Liana from IDA will be my contact. So we will try, and if you know my email address, I think all of you know my email address by now. So just CC me also. We'll try to follow up with the government agencies on their behalf to see how best as organizers of the competition we can help you out. Okay. Next question. Any more? No?
So the public transport data you are still purchasing from
The operators.
The operators.
Yeah.
So some other government organizations are still not sharing the data publicly, is it? I mean, in Singapore.
Yeah, I think what he means is, okay, maybe I can answer the question. So there is 2 operators, SBS Transit and SMRT buses. So I believe government is purchasing data from the operators. Is that correct?
Yeah, because they are actually so the operators they are actually the point that they are actually collecting the data themselves. So this data we do not have, so we have to actually get it from them.
Okay.
Yeah.
My general question is, I mean, LTA has some data, and probably LIA, MAS, all these government organizations will share some data to the public. Are there any organizations that do not share the data yet? Alright, I will take it offline.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Okay. So I have a question. Any more questions? Going once, twice, thrice. Okay. One question to you.
Okay.
So now, when we drive, right, there is this ERP gantry. I know all of us love it, right? So now, I was reading the technical implementation of the ERP gantry. It's a wonderful system from an IT perspective. I read through the whole thing. Now, there is this, no, technically it's a very good system, okay? So there's a vehicle detector. So now, my question is, do you have statistics of how many vehicles are going under when the ERP is lit up, and are you willing to share it with the contestants? So do you think that that's a good source of data? Anybody thinking that's good?
Yeah.
Right? So that's the first question. Second question, when the ERP gantry is not in operation, which means the light is off, okay, is the vehicle detector still on? So that we at least know how many vehicles are going through, right? That's a very important thing. You see, from a time series perspective, a time space continuum, whether the ERP is on or not, if at least the vehicle detector is on, we will have the data. So wonderful visualization can be done. So if the second question, if the answer to the second question is no, please take it as my feedback, okay? Okay, answer the first.
Maybe let me just answer the second question first.
Right.
Okay, just to share with you, right? Aside from collecting toll for using the road, right? Another intended usage of the ERP system is actually to measure the traveling speed along expressway, because you know certain stretches of expressway has more than one gantry, right? So so the detector is on detecting which car that passed through the gantry and what is the time that it actually passes through the second gantry, right? So based on this time and the distance, we can actually detect the traveling speed along the expressway. So actually that's another use of the ERP system, right? So your question is actually whether is it on.
So is the vehicle detector on when the ERP gantry is off?
I think that, yeah.
No, you're not detecting my money, right? I know you're not detecting
Yeah.
my money because the cash card is still the same value, but I just want to know whether you're still detecting me, so at least you will know what is the flow when
Yeah.
cash is off. You are.
Yeah, if that's the purpose is to actually measure traveling speed.
I see.
And
Okay.
actually,
So are you willing to share the data with people here or with in general?
we have to see what is the intended usage and what kind of applications we can actually develop. Are you trying to, if you can actually come up with something that is very useful to us, of course you can write into us with your proposal and then we can take it back and reevaluate.
So guys, that's great news, but one thing is I cannot put in the request because I cannot participate in the competition. So if any of you like the idea, please submit the request to LTA, they will consider it, right? So you can think of some nice applications what you can do, okay? So the speaker will be available for lunch. In the interest of time, we are going to finish this particular session. So let's thank the speaker one more time and for the wonderful data and shared. Alright, so next we have two speakers from National Environment Agency. So first speaker is Ms. Tang. She is a scientific officer from Pollution Control Department. So she is going to share with us what NEA has to offer us to the participants of this competition. And then we have Mr. Joshua Simon. So first, let's welcome Ms. Tang.
Okay, good morning everyone. I'm from the National Environment Agency. So today I'll be sharing with you, I think under the data.gov, right, you can actually see a whole list of 76 sets of data. But today I'll be focusing more on the air quality as well as solid waste management data that is available on the website, as well as some of the mobile apps, and hopefully with all this information, it can guide you towards your app application. Okay. Okay, so actually under NEA we have a continuous air monitoring programs where we monitor the air quality, the ambient air quality in Singapore. So in terms of information available on the website, if you access the NEA website, you can actually see that we do publish the PSI as well as the individual pollutants sub-index on our NEA website 3 times a day at 8 AM, 12 and 4 PM. So this information are available on a daily basis at 3 frequencies, and these informations are not archived. But the regional PSI levels, actually on our website you can see all the archive information since 2005. So this information are also available on the mobile apps, such as if you have Android phone or iPhone, you can actually download this MyEMV application where you can get access to the PSI, regional PSI, as well as the PM 2.5 concentration. This is also updated 3 times a day on the mobile apps. So other than the mobile application, MyEMV apps, actually on MyEMV apps you can also get access to other kind of information, such as the rainfall, the forecast for weather, the rainfall data. So moving on, the air quality information is also available on social media such as Twitter. This is also updated at the 3 frequencies. So if you see here, actually they will show the PSI for Singapore at 3 different timings, and then if you click, you access, click and you will get a detailed page as of what time are these information updated. Other than all this information, actually there are also other informations such as monthly annual figures in terms of air quality that are available, say, in the Ministry of Environment and Water Resources website. And at data.gov, you can also, in terms of air quality information, you can see that these information are updated monthly. So you can have each of these pollutants. So the 6 main pollutants monthly averages are also updated on this website. So, okay. That's about the kind of information that are available on the public, on the website, as well as social media and mobile apps. So just to share with you some of the, because we do receive feedbacks from public on a very, actually requesting for data and all. So these are the two main, in terms of air quality, these are the two main kind of information that public has always been requesting. So in terms of PSI and pollutants sub-index, this information are actually available on the website as well as on social media. So in terms of historical monthly and annual figures, currently there are figures that are actually updated on the website. But we're thinking if this information can be displayed on a, say, if there's a social, as an app where you can do the trending of all these historical data, then that will be useful for the public as well. So I think that's about it in terms of air quality. Maybe I'll pass on to my colleague who will be sharing with you more on the solid waste management data that's available on the website, some of the key challenges, as well as some ideas on what kind of application would be useful for the public in terms of solid waste management. Yes. Before we take the questions after.
So the second speaker is Mr. Joshua Simon, is Head Licensing and Operations, Waste and Resource Management. So any questions to Ms. Tang, just hold on for a while, just 5 more minutes. Then we'll just ask the questions for both the speakers together. Okay?
Hello, good morning. My name is, you can call me D.D. Simon. I'm with the Waste and Resource Management Department. Okay, waste is a mind-boggling issue to handle. Okay, we've been looking at waste for the last, since 1970, how to manage it better. And we came up with the installation plans, we came up with the landfill on mainland, now we have gone offshore. There's a lot of money being invested and put into all this hardware or infrastructure. But waste is still growing. Okay, so this is a big issue. So we are looking at how to manage this growing problem. Okay. Now, the challenges that we are facing, the strategies that we have employed. Okay, with this, we want to see what sort of an app will help us to cut down on waste. That means to give the information that the public requires to cut waste from mainstream. Just for your information, we were collecting something like 7,800 tons a day. There's a lot of waste. And over the last 1 month, from the festivities period, we've crossed the red line of 8,000 tons a day. So we need to find out how best we can remove what is incinerable, that can be burnt, and what can be recycled. So we want to pay more attention on what can be recycled, or reused, or don't use. Okay. Okay, Singapore geographically, we have 4 big challenges: hot and humid climate, very little land, lots of people, and the kind of things that we are doing. Okay, creates a lot of waste. Okay, for Singapore's population, now it's 5.18 million. And they generate quite a bit of waste. So this is what we are looking at. We have 1,800 refuse trucks trips per day, which if you were to stack it up at a man's height of 1.7 meters, that will cover about 700 football fields annually. So this is something that we want to address. We've tried always to come out with programs to manage what is being generated, but we want to cut what is being generated and what is going to registration plant. So the strategy that we are looking at is waste minimization and also to recycle. Now, we have a lot of information in one map, SLA's one map. where if you go to services, you can see the locations of recycling bins, okay, where the public can easily come in the recyclables. But the thing is that apart from this kind of information, there needs to be something else more which will prod people to cut down the waste. So what we want people to do now is to segregate waste at source, which is already being done, but to cut off the food waste and take everything else as recyclables. Okay, this is something that is moving on. We've got, I mean, as you know, Singapore is geographically divided into 9 sectors for waste collection. So we are reviewing or renewing the contracts now this year up to 2014. So in these new contracts, we are putting in new programs. But it's going to take some time by the time we cover the 9 sectors up to the end of 2018. So we need something that will help us in managing the waste, because waste is the biggest problem and we need to handle waste because of public health. Alright, so the recycling bin is something that we are looking forward to, and that's a big issue. We have information on, as what my colleague said, on my ENV. You can have information there. You can also do reporting through that app. And the ideas your app can be designed with, basing on the 3R principle. How to educate users on how to cut down on the waste, okay, generated in the households, and then provide tips on how to give used items a new life. These are all suggestions, right? We have, and encourage more residents to partake in recycling within the community, okay, community-based participation, and educate users on which items are recyclable and which are not. Okay, most of the, more times now we are analyzing the kind of recyclables that we are collecting, and we find that there's a lot of contamination. So people are still throwing food waste into a recycling bin. Okay, to respond the whole whatever recyclables have already been deposited in there. So we want to cut down the amount of what do you call contamination in these recycling bins. So we look to you for that help in your app development. And the information sources, you have data.gov.sg, you have the amount of waste that's disposed, amount that's incinerated, amount that is recycled, and you just look at waste and you get, I think, something like that, 30 over lots of logs on waste management. And the other link is the NEA's website, which also gives you quite a bit of information on waste management overall in Singapore. So, for instance, if you want to find out the total waste recycled in the year of 2011, by looking at, I mean, clicking in recycling, you should be able to look at the data that's been posted in data.gov.sg. Okay, that's all I have for you. Look forward to seeing your app, which will be able to help residents of Singapore.
Okay, folks, let's take some questions for the 2 speakers. So maybe I can ask the first question. Just like LTA, do you have any email address where they can contact, the contestants can contact NEA so that any request for data, where should they put
you can actually send it to me directly, yeah, and I'll deal with it. And whatever data you need, you can send it to me. I will give my email address, and then from there you can send your request to me, and I will redirect it to whoever's the owner of the info.
Okay. So guys, if you have any request for data from NEA, just send it to me. I'll make sure that you get it gets to the right person within NEA. So I actually have one more question before I open up the floor. So the question is to Mr. Tank here. It's been a long time since I did chemistry. Okay, so just to refresh my memory, the PSI, right? Does it include vehicle pollution from vehicles? Does it contribute to the PSI increase, or does it not contribute?
Just to give a very brief background of how the PSI is computed. Actually, it's computed based on the, just now I actually showed some of these pollutants where some of these pollutants, the 5 main pollutants, so like CO, NO2, SO2, PM10 and ozone, all these are this information are used to calculate the PSI. So actually...
So does it come from the vehicle exhaust? Any of them comes from the vehicle exhaust?
Okay, some of these pollutants are emitted from the vehicle sources, yeah.
Right. So that's not the question. So now I confirm that it comes from the vehicles. So I just have an idea here in case any of you want to pick it up. So we have LTA who's going to tell you where the road, the lamppost, the capacity of the road is. Then we have NEA who gives us in 5 zones in Singapore where the PSI, whether it is less or more. So it's very natural that we can combine data from 2 different sources to see whether as the vehicle traffic increases in certain days, certain times of the day, certain season, does it have any correlation to the PSI, right? So you can see that as during nightfall, in order to prove this, you can prove the inverse to see whether during nighttime does the PSI come down, right? So you can see the power of the data here, although they are from 2 different agencies, we can combine data from LTA and NEA to see, just as an experiment to see, is there a correlation, is there not a correlation, right? So feel free to take up this idea and if you need any more data points from this one, we can forward the queries. So let me now open the floor to the speakers here. Okay.
I want to know is there any data related to the sound pollution or noise pollution provided?
The sound is basically when the vehicle goes on the expressways, right? So noise pollution.
Currently on the public domain, I don't think there's any information available in terms of the noise pollution level. Yeah.
So do you have detectors? Do you have noise detectors that can detect the decibel levels? One thing is not sharing with the public, but do you have the detectors in place?
Okay, noise is managed by NEA, and we manage noise following complaints. Okay, and noise is normally from construction sites, majority of it. And for noise monitoring, auditors are put in certain places where there is an issue. Okay, and then we will tackle the issue, and thereafter is no more there. So it is on a complaint-based kind of monitoring. We do not have real-time noise monitoring system available right now.
Okay. So
we answered the question.
Yes. So last question. Anyone? Okay. You need to be loud.
For recycling, how does NEA decide which location requires recycle bins?
More.
So the idea here is it possible to have it such as crowdsourcing? So meaning having an app whereby residents can highlight that this location they prefer to have more recycle bins and stuff like that. So rather than just one-sided data pooling, we can actually collect data and feed that back to NEA.
Okay, great. Thank you for the question. Okay, on the SLA map, there are 1,600 locations. Now, let me give you some background if I can have some time for this.
For full 5 more minutes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we started recycling in 2001. Okay, and in 2002, we mandated recycling as requirement by law on the public waste collectors. Then in 2009 to 2010, we deployed 1 recycling bin for every 5 blocks of flats. So that is the 1,600 you will see on the SLA's map. Now prior to that, it was a door-to-door collection where the public waste collectors will issue 1 plastic bag per resident for flats, and they were collected every fortnightly. Okay, so now what we have done is we have moved away from the door-to-door collection, and as the new contracts are being rolled out, we require the public waste collectors to provide 1 recycling bin per block. That means to say, we put the owners of recycling on the residents and get them to bring down the recyclables as and when they want. And they will be collected on a frequency, so much so that these bins do not overflow. Okay, and the locations are normally immediately next to the blocks, very close by, along the pedestrian movement areas. So these have been identified together with town councils who actually manage the estates. So as the new contracts are brought out, you get 1 recycling bin per block over the next 2 years. Okay, for Bedok, Pasir Ris, and Jurong, which is just been awarded, you will see the bins are going to be rolled out very soon. For Pasir Ris and Bedok side, the bins are already there. If you go to any of the blocks there in Pasir Ris and Bedok, you will see one bin per block. So it is already there, but these locations are not in the SLA's one map. Because if you put that in, then every block that is shown on SLA's map will have one bin. Okay, for these 3 sectors. So as the new contracts are coming out, you'll have one bin per block. So the main thing is to get the people to segregate more and take off whatever can be recycled out from the main waste stream and to only throw away the food waste. That's our point. Have I asked a question? Thank you.
Okay. So maybe I can just extend this question a little bit. So now I think we touched a very important point of crowdsourcing, which is very important in this mobile world. So now you said the contracts are laid in such a way that the bin should not overflow, and they need to be clear when the bin is filled up. Right?
That's right.
So do you have statistics on what's the number of times certain bins in certain areas are being clear? Say for example in Bedok, for example, that particular block, right? Maybe it is clear 10 times a day, whereas say in Clementi, in one particular block is only once per day. Is that statistic available? That's the first part. The second part is to touch on this crowdsourcing. Let's assume that he is developing an application whereby he's combining a GPS or something saying that this bill is now filled up, right? So is it possible to send a real-time feedback to a system so that we see that, okay, this bin is filled up, and we take a walk and we see that the next bin is also filled up, standing next to the bin and say, okay, bin filled, something like that. It's really the way so that we can get real-time data, and maybe in the future, in a very not so distant future, right? So we can see that this information can flow from the government to the contract agencies, who can then say, okay, now go pick up there, and you can even link it up with LTA to say how to route the trucks on a daily basis, right? This is a very powerful concept of the government and the people working together. So maybe you can answer these 2 questions.
Okay, for recycling bins overflowing, sorry, I'll touch on the overflowing one first. The overflowing bins is something that we have seen in the past because the collection frequency was once a week. So we found that that is not the way to go. So the 2 contracts we have tweaked it is going to be daily collection. Okay, daily collection, and from there is a minimum requirement. It's what we call performance based. So it's a minimum requirement. So if it is a case of overflowing within one day from one block, I think something is not correct.
Okay.
Because you don't take 660 liters of recyclables in one day. So we have varied it is anything from 1 to 3 days, or 3 times a week. That's in 2 days, once every 2 days. So the frequencies are there. Now the other thing is, you're talking about the routing just now. We are actually and also looking at the height of the bins full, right? We've been looking at certain service providers who can give us some sort of an indication or some sort of measuring tool which indicates when the recycling bins are full. Okay, but it's very expensive to have such a system to be put on each and every bin, because at the end of the day, the cost will be transferred back to the consumers, the residents. So we do not want to increase costs alarmingly. So we want to look at how best we can manage this. Looking at what you call filling out of bins is something that we are looking forward to. We have got certain programs undergoing, right, to see how best we can handle this, right? Without incurring much of an expense, right? So we'll appreciate how we can work with the information that's already available, and for collection, GPS routing is also something that we are looking at. Of course, then we can work with LTA how this can be better done, because the GPS provision is with the waste collectors. It's not with NEA. So the routings are done by the waste collectors, and we can monitor it. So, but how we can use that information is something that we have to look at if we need that information for development of the app. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, folks, let's thank the speakers.